in the land of Coloaidin Arnet, in the shadow of Tuhkan Torni, the priests of Tavurur commune with the ashes. After time and matter coalesced into reality, the 4 tribes of Ensimmainen were created on the face of Fangilset, and were blessed by Ensimmainen, the great giver, with divine connections to their world within the Con, and the Atma that flowed from beyond. Each tribe was given unique gifts in accordance to their role on Fangilset. These gifts allowed them to manipulate the base elements of life, influence the structure of the world with a thought, modify the very material of human physiology, and peer beyond the veil of the physical world into the ever-flowing torrent of Atma pouring from beyond the borders of the Con. The 4 Ensimmainen tribes lived together upon the massive and solitary continent of Silet. For a time there was peace, and many used their gifts to aid their tribes in becoming beacons of strength, beauty, wisdom, and spirituality. But as time flowed onward, and each tribe learned to harness and hone their Atma, a darkness enveloped the hearts of the Ensimmainen tribes. Ignited by envy, paranoia, and a lust for power, something unseen since the dawn of creation scorched the face of Fangilset. War. For 20 years the war raged. Countless lives were sacrificed to the gaping maw of death that stood to consume all. Entire provinces were left barren by the egregious abuse of the gifts bestowed by Ensimmainen. The blood of the Ensimmainen tribes soaked the plains, forests, and coasts of Silet. The chaos and carnage seemed limitless and unending. But there would be an end. Peace, brought by blood, fire, and ash. In the Tumusumu Mountains, the 4 tribes gathered to finally end the war, no matter the cost. A great battle raged from the base of the mountain Torni, nestled in the scorched forest, to the jutting peak of barren stone that stood above all else. The loss of life so severe that the Atma and blood of the fallen Ensimmainen ran deeply into the rock. The rage that twisted the gifts of the Ensimmainen corrupted the Atma that flowed into the mountain. More and more Ensimmainen poured their Atma into the great mountain Torni as they sacrificed their lives in the foolhardy quest for domination. A deep protest of the bloodshed rumbled within the throat of the stone spire. The ground stirred as if a giant beneath the surface had been awakened by the violent recourse, and the face of the mountain exploded forth, consuming the armies of the 4 tribes in a brilliant flash of molten stone. A great ash plume rose to the sky, darkening the lands beyond. The great cloud could be seen from the farthest reaches of every province, and heralded the end of the 4 armies, and of the war. For many, the ceaseless bellowing of ash and fire was but a gravestone, a reminder of the horror of war, and the death that awoke the planet's rage. For the Tavurur tribe, the awakening of Torni also awoke a deeper connection to the Con. For with the ash came a voice, whispering in the depths, whispering the secrets of the Con, the destiny of the Ensimmainen, and of an ancient energy that waits in the darkness. The Tavurur tribe henceforth named that day the Sacred Awakening, and soon followed a mass exodus as the tribe uprooted themselves from their homes at the center of the great continent Silet, and underwent a holy pilgrimage to Torni, now called Tuhkan Torni, for the holy spring of ash flowing from the spire. The Tavurur named their new home Coloaidin Arnet, for the many voices calling from the Atma-soaked ash covering the old battlefields, and the ever-scorched forest of Brenning. As the spiritual leaders of the Luomainen tribes, the Tavurur used their gifts to gain knowledge of the past, present, and the future. For all who crossed into Commune Arnet, a deafening silence blankets the barren, ash-covered landscape. Vision fails in the torrential blizzard of ash, and the only signs that life once existed are the skeletal remains of the once full and lush forest. For the Tavurur, Commune Arnet was filled with the cacophony of the dead. Constant whispered screams and sorrowful tales of loss filled Brenning Forest. Rage poured forth from the ashes that covered the mountain. The voices of the fallen soldiers sweeping across the mountain like a winter breeze, calling out from their place between the veil and reality, calling for an end to their suffering. Endlessly, the voices of the great armies call out in protest of their immutable demise. The Tavurur hear these voices, listening intently to the messages attempting to cross the great chasm of death to reach the living world. However, the voices of the fallen Luomainen paled in comparison to the voice of the mountain, the calling of the ash, born of the planet's revolt against bloodshed. The voice spoke of all things, from the birth of the Khan to the fall of humanity at the hands of metal and lightning. Through the silence of death and stone, the voices call out. Through the ash comes divine connection. The voices of the ash fill the silence of Commune Arnet, and the priests of Tavurur listen.